The Hanhart 417ES, a re-edition of one of Hanhart's most popular watches, one of Steve McQueen's favorite watches, the first pilot's chronograph made for the German Armed Forces, and just a beautiful manual chronograph is what I have here for review today. A classic pilot manual wind chrono, classic font, a button strap, and now an optional stainless steel bracelet. This is the Hanhart 417ES. US pricing starts around $2,200 and around $2,600 if you opt for the bracelet. And this one is using the Sellita SW510 movement. Let's take a look and talk all about it. In keeping with wanting these videos as succinct as possible, I will get more into the history of this piece in the written review, but on screen you will see all the specifications, and yes, this is a reissue or a re-edition of a historic Hanhart piece built in the 1950s for the German Armed Forces. Now the ES comes from the word, well, it's a German word and I'm going to butcher it, so I'll just put that on screen, but it translates to stainless steel. And that is because the original model was made either in chrome-plated brass or stainless steel. Now, there are no brass versions of these anymore, but Hanhart kept the ES in the name, if for nothing else, to keep it in line with the original. Now, there are a few different versions of the 417 ES. I will lay it all out for you here. This one is the 42mm standard manual wind chrono, and there is a 39mm dubbed the 1954 as well. But if you want a flyback model, you have to choose one of the Panda versions, both in regular Panda and reverse Panda, and it's available in both sizes. Another thing I want to point out is that this one that I have here, the standard version, if you will, is the cheapest of them all, as the 39mm 1954 is about $100 more than this one, and the flyback versions are $2,660, so basically $2,700, and that is on the strap only at another $360 if you want the bracelet. So none of them are exactly cheap. So what exactly are you getting for your money? The design is pretty accurate to the original, with the exception of some text on the dial. And speaking of text on the dial, I went through all of the models on the Hanhart and WatchBuy's website, and I noticed all of the 42mm models do not have anti-magnetic on the dial, only the 39mm. Now, looking this up, the 42mm is anti-magnetic to 4800, which is pretty much standard, but the 39mm is anti-magnetic to 16,000. It also has a soft iron dial instead of brass. But okay, enough about the one that I don't have in hand. Let's talk about the Sellita manual wind Bi-Compax chronograph from Hanhart. This is, of course, part of the Pioneer collection, and in reality, except for the font, this does look very similar to the other available chrono models from this German brand. Two things that are immediately noticeable as different, though. One would be the lugs, especially compared to, say, the MK1 or MK2 models, which have very chunky and blocky lugs, and here with the 417, they are thin and slim and much more sleek. The other is the pencil hands instead of the usual cathedral hands Hanhart uses on a lot of their models. The dial is matte and you have printed markers and numerals as well, and as such, this is a very utilitarian piece. Nothing flashy here all around, and this is a subdued look that keeps glare to a minimum and allows this watch to be very easy to read. And another thing that allows this watch to be very easy to read is the bent hands, so you don't get that parallax effect with the box style domed sapphire crystal. The dial text is minimum as well with the old Hanhart logo font, 23 jewels instead of 17 from the original, and just the word shockproof. Now this is the Bi-Compax chronograph with your small seconds counter at 9 and 30-minute counter at 3. This is a traditional style of chronograph, unlike the flyback on the other models, so you do have to stop and start with the 2 o'clock pusher and reset with the 4 o'clock pusher. The crown is, of course, large and easy to pull out. It does not screw down, by the way, and winding is very smooth. And this movement is said to have 58-hour power reserve, though I have seen some sites claim 63. I tested it once and it was 56 hours, so it was in the range. Like I said, the crown does not screw down, but this 417 does have 100 meters of water resistance, so no need to worry about it when washing your hands or the dishes or if you get caught out in the rain, whatever. Now, just like you would expect, the finishing on this Hanhart 417 is very well executed, and I expected nothing less. Beautiful fine grain finishing and brushing and accents of polish. But one thing I did notice was this is a rather plain case back, again, reminiscent of the original. But the 39mm version of this watch does have a nicer case back with a stamped logo and text, and the inner circle is like blasted or frosted. Whereas this one, it's just engraved and all circular brushed. Now, I guess that $100 extra, even if a smaller size, does get you quite a bit more with the case back finishing and, of course, the anti-magnetic properties in those. But let's talk about the straps, especially the bracelet. Now, I'm not going to put the strap back on, but I will put up a pic of it on the watch and, of course, show the strap here, and there is a reason for that. The bracelet has quick release pins, the strap does not. And the leather strap and fitment to the lugs is pretty tight, which is good, but every time I switched the strap and bracelet, I felt the tool pinching the leather a little, and well, I just want to try and prevent that. And that does make me wonder why the strap doesn't have quick release pins, even though I'm usually against them. It's just odd that you need a tool to take the strap off, but you don't need one to put the bracelet on. But speaking of those in the bracelet, you will notice when you are putting it on or removing it that the links are not permanently attached to the bracelet and the quick release bars can fall out if you're not paying attention. Now let me be clear, not when you are wearing it, but they can slide out when you remove the bracelet. But they're easy enough to slide back into the slot. You just need to line up the slots on the bracelet and the end link first. And the bracelet itself, it's an all-brushed 3-link style bracelet, very great finishing, a nice heft, and a great looking clasp with the historic Hanhart logo font as well. Now, I love that Hanhart released a bracelet for the Pioneer models, but there is one problem. These are 21mm. Yep, this has 21mm lugs. It's just a pain in the ass size, and while custom makers and even a few other commercial strap companies make that size these days, it does limit your aftermarket strap options. Oh, and back to that button strap. Now, I'm not a fan of how it looks on this watch. It makes it pretty chunky, and though you can take the cuff part off to make it a standard strap, the back of this leather strap and the cuff is Alcantara, which, if you don't know, is basically a fake suede. It's all the rage in the cars these days, and that's fine. I like it myself, but I'm not sure about it on the wrist, especially with moisture and sweat. And lastly, the lume, and it's good, not great. If you need great lume, grab a good dive watch, but if you need the time in the dark, this one will do it for a little while. With this being a recreation of a historical piece and now being modernized and upsized to 42mm, I think this is a lovely piece. On the new bracelet, it looks great, it wears great, though if the bund or bracelet is not your thing, you could probably get one of the other straps from Hanhart, and of course, find your own 21mm strap, if possible. I think this is a great piece, but with being manual, you have to remember to wind it every 2 days or so, and for those who are used to automatics, it could be an adjustment. But this is a modernized throwback, and I think Hanhart did it well, and I think the new bracelet really takes this piece up a notch. There will be a written review on watchreport.com, but in the meantime, let me know down in the comments section here what you think of this piece. Of course, all links are down in the description, and if you could take a minute to like and share this video, as well as commenting, and if you're not already, subscribing and turning on notifications. It really helps out the channel. You can find us on social media as well. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It is, of course, at Watch Report. This is Don Evans from Watch Report. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.